Another defense I like to do when my opponent locks up the anaconda is pretty simple. So my opponent locks up anaconda, and instead of falling to any side or anything, I'm going to grab my opponent's elbow that's across my neck. I'm going to grab that elbow. I'm going to pull it towards my chest. So I want this to be really, really deep. I'm going to come up to a foot, and then I'm going to, with my free hand, I'm going to either grab my opponent's hip, his far hip preferably, or the back of his leg. So now that I'm pulling his arm deeper towards my center line, I'm going to take my head from one side, circle it to the opposite side, and start looking up and away from my opponent. As I circle my head, I'm going to continuously pull his arm towards my center line, and I'm going to grab my opponent's far hip. As I grab my opponent's far hip, I can take my knee down towards my opponent's same side knee. I can begin turning in a way that will clear my head from him, and I can begin taking his back. So my opponent has anaconda. I'm going to begin immediately taking his arm, pulling it towards my center line. I'm coming up to a foot, and I'm going to take my head, circle it to the opposite side, and start looking up and away from my opponent. As I start looking up and away with my free hand, I'm going to reach and grab my opponent's far hip. Once I grab my opponent's far hip, I can take my knee, drop it down towards my opponent's same side knee, and continuously drag my opponent's arm and circle to his back. So my opponent locks up an anaconda. I'm taking his elbow. I'm pulling it towards my center line. I'm coming up to the same side foot. As I come up to the same side foot, I'm going to take my free hand and grab my opponent's far hip as I circle my head. So I'm going to circle my head, look up and away from my opponent as I grab my opponent's far hip here. Once I've grabbed my opponent's far hip, I'm going to drop my knee towards my opponent's same side knee, and I'm going to begin dragging, and then I can begin taking the back. Let's see here. So I've here. So my opponent has front head, or anaconda. I'm grabbing his elbow that's across my neck. His arm is across the neck. I'm grabbing that arm's elbow. I'm going to come up to a foot on the same side. Once I'm here, I'm going to begin taking my head and rotating in and to the opposite side of my opponent's body. Now that I'm on my opponent's opposite side of his body, I'm going to begin looking up and away from him. As I grab with my free hand, I'm going to grab his far hip. Once I grab his far hip, taking my knee and dropping it towards my opponent's same side knee, I'm going to begin dragging, and then I can begin taking his back.